Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Swine Product Spotlight presented by the Iowa Pork Producers Association. I'm Cindy Cunningham, and I'll be your host for our final spotlight today. As you can see, the 49th Annual Iowa Pork Congress looks a bit different this year as we've had to limit our in-person events and move the educational seminars and Iowa Pork Foundation auction to a virtual format. With the shift in the events, it's a bit of a disappointment. However, the Iowa Pork Producers Association Board of Directors used the core We Care principles to make decisions to keep the whole community safe as the nation works through the coronavirus epidemic. Even with these changes, you can still connect with vendors, attend seminars, and much more. You know, one of the important aspects of the Iowa Pork Congress is that during the trade show, it gives pig farmers an opportunity to talk to a variety of vendors and kick some tires. We will be doing that through the Swine Product Spotlight, where we have this webinar right now this afternoon. This is the fourth in our spotlights. So if you've missed an earlier one or simply would like to view another one again, just log on to the Iowa Pork website at iowapork.org. Again, that's iowapork.org, or the Swinecast website at swinecast.com. And as we wrap up Iowa Pork Congress, of course, you can log on to iowapork.org for a full recap of all the activities, including the seminars, the auction, and more. And be sure to follow along on social media as well. The hashtag is Iowa Pork Congress 2021. Again, that social media hashtag Iowa Pork Congress 2021. During our time this afternoon in this spotlight, our goal is to showcase companies and their products, bringing to you the latest in swine products, technology, and innovation. These are the highlights that you would have seen during the trade show. So our first order of business today is about the technology. To make things easy for you, we've taken care of some of the details. You're in a listen-only mode, which means we've muted your microphones for you. Chances are you'll have some questions for a specific company. Let me say we welcome your questions. Just type them in the QA box at the bottom of the Zoom window, and I'll be sure each speaker takes some time to answer them for you. I'm extremely excited about the folks you'll meet today during this session. AP, TechMix, and PigEasy. We'll spend about 10 minutes with each company. We've got a lot of ground to cover this afternoon, so let's get started. Our first guest is AP. AP has a full line of feed storage and delivery systems, feeders, ventilation, and environmental controls. AP and its dealers are on your team finding solutions that fit in your swine production operation. Mark Hayden is the director with swine sales and the Sioux City warehouse. Mark has some information about AP load cells for us.
Hello everyone, this is Mark Hayden with AP, and today we'll be discussing what we have to offer for feed monitoring and management systems. AP has over 20 years of experience in measuring and reporting feed inventories, and so today we kind of want to do a quick overview of the different products that we have available. At the heart of our feed management system is the load bar assembly. Load cells have been around for many years and are definitely a proven method of accurately monitoring the weight of the feed in the bin. When we started our development process about 25 years ago, we looked at a lot of different potential solutions, and a lot of those relied on the feed leaving the bin in a uniform manner. And we didn't need very much time to realize that that was not going to work very well. Feed, as it flows out of bins at sites, comes out very unpredictably and very unevenly. So we circled back around to the load cell design. In the picture, you'll see the load cell that we've had for a number of years. It is a very effective tool. No matter how the feed flows out of the bin, we're still measuring the weight, and it gives us a very accurate picture. And through our years of development and refining the product, we will have a load cell coming out this spring that will be accurate to about a 1% plus or minus accuracy level. And also a new feature that we'll have this spring is a pre-calibrated load cell, which means that we no longer have to deliver a full bin of feed to the site to do a full calibration. The bars will be pre-calibrated and eliminates that very cumbersome task of having someone at the site, having the feed ticket, having to fill the bin completely. So that is a huge technological advance that we will be coming out with this spring. The system can be adapted to almost any bin that's out there. We use the existing anchors, so if you're doing a retrofit or a new site, either way, it adapts very easily. When the load cells are installed, we're only raising the feed line anywhere from 3 to 4 inches, so has very minimal impact on the installation at the site. Now I just kind of want to go through some of the components and the options with the system. And this is for our feed link system. We'll talk about connecting the load cells to edge at the end of the presentation. So for now, these next items are going to be all of what's incorporated into our feed link system, which is a package that can be put on a new site, but it also is a great retrofit. No matter the type of ventilation, the controls that you have, these components can be added to the site and give you real-time data and analytics from any production site that's out there. So here's what the display unit looks like. We can mount these on the bin leg, or you can mount them inside the building. A lot of people want to have them in office. And with the FeedLink system, we can mount remotely up to 2,000 feet from the bin. If we're going to measure the feed inventory, it's relatively inexpensive, and it's in a big demand for also knowing what the temp and the water consumption is doing at the site. This box can be added to any existing facility. We run new temp probes into the room. We tie into a lot of times the existing water meters. I mean, it does require having a network master to tie all this information together, and we'll talk about that in an upcoming slide. If a person wants to tie their feed systems into the system, that's easily done. We can add our IR sensor into the network if you use our IR2, which is virtually the same as our traditional IR sensor. And if you have our traditional IR sensors, it can be upgraded by simply adding a new lid, and it can put it on the network. And this will allow you to get emails and text notifications about, if there's an issue with the feed line, or if it's run too long, or if it happens to be an alarm. Some of the other components that we have available are wireless modules. Some sites are not designed or adaptable to trenching. Maybe we have sites across the road from each other, across the site. And if we have those situations, we can easily add RF modules that will let us send the information up to a mile as long as we have direct line of sight. Here is the look at the Network Master 2. This is the data collection device that sits at the site. We do require an internet connection where we can plug into the Network Master 2, and that allows all the data to be sent to a cloud, and that will give you all of the emails, text, and reporting features that we're going to look at here next. There is an annual fee that goes with the analytics. However, it's very affordable, very minimal cost per pig. We do have an app. If you put in the Network Master, everybody has an app for almost everything. So does FeedLink, but it will allow you from any smart device, a phone or a tablet, to be able to pull up all the information in regard to feed, water, temp at your site. Another option of the system is to have the daily status reports. You can see a quick look here of what a report looks like. This is on a typical double wide finisher. We have the inventory for all the bins, their consumption history. We project the empty date and time of the bins. We're also keeping track of high-low temps, water, and the feed line usage. So in a quick snapshot, you have a really good idea what's going on at the site. If you prefer a graphical view, there's a hyperlink right on your daily status report. Just kind of want to show some of the different graphs that are representative of what we're seeing at the sites. Here happens to be a feed outage, and you can see how the consumption was increasing. We had an out of feed event, and you can see the disruption caused in relation to that. Here is a water spill. So, if you don't happen to catch it on a difference, or different people like to view things differently, sometimes graphs are the best way. And here is very evident that we had a water spill event. Luckily, they got on it very quickly and were able to take care of the situation and not put excess water in the pit. Here's a graph that shows where a group of pigs was sick during the turn. You can see everything was rolling along just fine. Then the pigs got a little sick, went off water a little more, and then a lot. And by catching this early on, hopefully we could medicate these pigs and avoid that major disruption in the pigs. As I mentioned before, we do have the edge compatibility. All of these features, for the most part, are also available through Edge, but some people do not want the charts and graphs. So without any additional fee, you can get real-time inventory, feed consumption information, and of course, you have your temp and water information that you would always have through an Edge system. But we do offer the analytics through edge.com. So that is another great option. That's all the slides that we had today. We really appreciate your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. Thank you.
And Mark, we really appreciate your time today. Mark Hayden, again, the Director of Swine Sales and the Sioux City Warehouse with AP and the AP load cells. Mark, we've got some questions coming in, and we just want to let the rest of our producers know that if you've got questions about this or any of our products today, please just type in your questions into the Q&A box at the bottom of the Zoom page, and we will get those questions answered for you. So Mark, our first question, welcome. And our first question is, what is the training time needed to get our staff up to speed to use this system?
Oh, I mean, it kind of depends a little bit if they've had this type of equipment before or not, but I would say it's very minimal amount of training. I mean, once the system is installed, it automatically generates those reports. The daily status reports come in as an email. To look at the graphs, it's just a quick little link that you can click on. So I would say very minimal amount of training.
Okay, Mark, our next question is about maintenance and maintenance schedules. Is there a maintenance schedule to follow?
No, really, the system, if it's installed properly and the site is maintained well, the system is virtually maintenance free. I mean, there's no moving parts. It's basically, wiring a network back to the office. And as long as the wires don't run into any trouble with, rodents or that sort of thing, there's really no maintenance to the system.
And this next question is kind of tied to that too. What about the service life of the system? What should people expect from this system?
We generally try to make sure our systems last, no matter if it's a fan or a bin or whatever, a minimum of probably a 10-year life cycle with very minimal input or upkeep. And I can tell you, we've had load cells out there for well over 15 years. So, I mean, it's going to last a really long time.
I've got one more question for you, and that is about, it's about taking in the system and retrofitting it into a barn. Is that, how does that work?
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, we've done it a number of times. I mean, the system will go in any existing site. It's just a matter of, on the load cells, we just jack the bins up, like I said, that 3-4 inch height, and put the new load cells underneath there. And then it's a matter of just wiring in the components, and it's very simple to do.
Great. And it sounds like you would be ready, willing, and able to help our producers with that. How can they get a hold of you?
So if anybody needs more information about this system or any of the AP products, the best thing to do is to go to our website, which is automatedproduction.com, or give us a call at 712-239-1011.
Mark, I'm going to ask you to hit that phone number one more time in case they were trying to jot it down quick.
Okay, it's 712-239-1011.
Great. Mark Hayden, we really appreciate you and the AP folks being with us today. And as always, we appreciate your support of our producers as well, support of the Iowa Pork Congress, and your being an Iowa Pork Alliance member. We appreciate AP, and we've got another AP team member that will be with us yet this hour. And now as we move on to our next spotlight, Dylan Shafer is the swine account manager based in Iowa with TechMix. TechMix is redefining hydration to keep your animals drinking, eating, and producing. And I'm looking forward to learning more about it.
Hi, I'm Dylan Shafer with TechMix, Swine Account Manager. Today we're going to talk to you about TechMix's nutrient-dense liquids, or NDLs. We'll go into what they are, why they're beneficial, and why they were created for TechMix. So at TechMix, we have a program called 3E, as you can see right here. 3E stands for environment, enrichment, and encouragement, and our nutrient-dense liquids fall underneath our enrichment category. So why did TechMix create a nutrient-dense liquid or come up with this terminology for our products? When pigs are weaned, we all know that there's a lot of stresses that are happening that go on. They're separated from mom, they're commingled, they're transported, and given the time of year, they could be really hot or really cold during that transport. At TechMix, we realized that water intake is generally normal or high when pigs are weaned, and feed intake is usually low or inconsistent within those first 5 to 6 days. So that presented an opportunity to deliver added nutrients through the water line to get those pigs off to the best start within the first 48 hours. So what is a nutrient-dense liquid and why is it beneficial? So a nutrient-dense liquid is a ready-to-use stock solution that requires no mixing on farm. And what we're delivering with those over a powdered electrolyte is you're getting more solids, which gets more nutrients to the pigs within that first week. Our NDLs are actually composed of 60% or more solids depending on which product you use, while also maintaining flowability and remaining shelf stable. So TechMix's nutrient-dense liquid products that fall underneath this category are Blue 2, Liquitene, and Nextine APF. Blue 2 is a nutrient-dense liquid that contains energy, electrolytes, and amino acids. It is used on general pig startups during stressful times or health challenges. If pigs are on a long truck ride or a hot summer day or generally just dehydrated, Blue 2 is the product for you to use. It is pulsed through the medicator or proportional at 1 to 128 or 1 ounce per gallon to those pigs for the first 48 hours post-wean. There is no mixing or dilution required for any of these products since they are their own stock solution. Blue 2 can also be used as a grueling solution in our intensive care pens or for pigs that just generally haven't gotten off to the best start. Blue 2 is mixed at 5 ounces per gallon of fresh water to form the gruel solution. Pigs can drink that solution straight, or feed can be added to that solution to your desired consistency for making your gruel. Liquitene is another nutrient-dense liquid that falls under this category for TechMix. It is composed of functional plasma proteins, energy, and electrolytes. It is pulsed through the medicator or proportioner at 1 to 128 or 1 ounce per gallon for 5 to 7 days post-weaning. The benefits of Liquitene with the functional plasma proteins that it contains helps gut integrity and also added nutrients to those pigs during stressful events that are a product of the weaning period. A more recent nutrient-dense liquid that TechMix has is Nextine APF or animal protein free. Nextine APF was made to get you the best of both worlds of Blue 2 and Liquitene. It has high dense electrolytes and amino acids and energy like Blue 2, with also the functional proteins that are comparable to what you would get in Liquitene. The product is pulsed through a medicator at 1 to 128 or 1 ounce per gallon and pulsed for 48 hours or 2 days post-weaning. It can also be mixed up and used in a gruel solution at 5 ounces per gallon of fresh water and given to those pigs for 2 days in your intensive care pens or pigs that just generally haven't gotten off to a very good start. Some general customer feedback that we've gotten on this product, with it being more recent, is pigs in the IC or intensive care pens that haven't gotten off to the best start are getting to the gruel a lot faster. They're consuming more feed, so pen activity is a lot better, and also they're seeing those pigs getting back on track at a lot faster rate than they have seen with other things that they have done in the past. Some customer feedback that we have got with the medicator or for general pop pulsed at 1 to 128 has been pen activity has increased, water consumption has increased from anywhere from 50 to 70% over normal water consumption for the first 2 days post-weaning. And we also see pigs getting to the water drinks a lot faster after arrival than they have seen when they don't run an electrolyte or compared to a different product that they have ran in the past. Another compliment we get from our customers on Nextine APF is it qualifies for animal protein free. What that means is it's made with a functional whey protein. Therefore, you get palatability benefits of that product, which is leading to our pigs drinking more of this product at startup and also in the gruel. Now that you know more about nutrient-dense liquids, or NDLs, that TechMix has to offer, Reach out to us for questions or recommendations on what product is best for you.
Wow, that was really interesting, Dylan. Thank you for sharing that with us. We've got some questions for you. And producers who are listening, we would love to have more questions for our experts here. So just drop those in the QA box at the bottom of your Zoom page, and we will make sure that our folks get those answered. We're going to start with a question about storage. So what is the on-site storage requirement for TechMix products? Temperature control, physical space? Tell us a little bit more about that, Dylan.
Yeah, so TechMix products are shelf stable. Really, you just don't want them to freeze or get too hot. So usually in an office, or we always recommend a cool, dry area for them. But the only issues I've ever had is if one of them, gets frozen, and then you see some separation in that product. But usually with shaking the jug up really well, it gets back incorporated into itself.
So liquid, are they available in a dry form as well?
The nutrient dense liquids are not. TechMix does have dry powdered products that we do offer, but with the nutrient dense liquids, you're going to be delivering more nutrients to those pigs for the first 2 days than you would be with any powdered product that goes through the water line.
Okay, so we have a question about pigs and their arrival time. So what if your pigs are not all there on the same day? How does this product work, and how do you ensure that everybody gets their share?
Yeah, so that's really kind of system specific in terms of what the way the pigs are arriving, and day spread. If you got a Monday, Wednesday, Friday fill for that room, do 24 hours on, 24 hours off to kind of get every pig at least 24 hours worth of whatever product it is you're pulsing. If you're doing back-to-back days, you can either start in the middle day to get the first group 48 hours and the last group 24. It just really depends on your situation, and reach out with your veterinarian or your TechMix representative, me or whoever's in your region, and we can help you. We can help walk you through that.
Great, and we've got a producer who is looking for some research and some background information, some studies to support TechMix products, better performance, lower mortalities. Help us understand what kind of research goes into this and where those studies might be available.
Yeah, so we have a lot of studies done on Liquitene. We also have a study or two done on Blue2. Both Blue2 and Liquitene have been proven to reduce mortality. Liquitene has also showed some other benefits in terms of average daily gain in feed intake correlated to water consumption with Liquitene. So if you're wanting any specifics on those, you can, like I said, reach out to me or reach out to TechMix, and we can definitely get those in your hands and walk you through the data and what we found with those products.
Absolutely. Our next question is about any issues on switching in and out these kinds of products with other mixes and other vendors.
So as far as I know, no issues with other mixes. In terms of, we have a lot of people that want to mix antibiotics with this up front right away. We do have a list of those compiled that we have tested. So that list is accessible to you through us if you reach out to TechMix or myself, and we can get you those. If we don't have one that you want to try, or one that's not on our list, all we ask for is a sample, and we can mix it up and make sure that it does actually go into the solution.
Great. What about NDLs that work well for PRRS pigs? Any specific information there?
Yeah, so there's all three of them will work really, really well. Each are going to give you a little bit different benefit in terms of what they do. The one we recommend the most for PRRS, PED, any health challenge startup you have, is Liquitene, just from the bovine plasma that's in that product, with the IgG and IgAs delivered and the amount of energy that you're going to get. It's also shows a lot of support and researched in gut integrity and things of that nature. If you can't use bovine plasma or serum in your program, whether you're antibiotic free or just not doing it within your pigs, the next product to recommend would be the Nextine APF.
So as long as we're talking about those NDLs, are they kind of similar to powdered electrolytes that are also on the market?
No, they're not. So one, they're their own stock solution. There's no mixing required, like we talked about in the video a little bit. Two, the amount of nutrients you're delivering with those versus a powdered product, because your powder's got to get diluted into a gallon. Whether it's 2 pounds per gallon or 1 pound per gallon, your percent solids in that solution is significantly less than what you're going to be delivering with our nutrient dense liquids, which leads to better hydration and more nutrients getting to the pig in their drinking water than what a powdered electrolyte would be doing.
Sounds like a lot of great information that you have to share, and I'm sure that our producers would be happy to reach out to you, and you'd be happy to visit with them a little bit more. Tell us again how they can reach you and talk about these products.
Yeah, so one way to get to us is techmixglobal.com. There's a contact tab there to reach out, and then they will point you to the right person to communicate with, or you could just call me. My number is 563-214-4297. Again, it was 563-214-4297.
Great, thanks, Dylan. And I know that we're also putting all these websites in the chat section below, so you'll be able to grab those websites from there as well. Dylan, we really appreciate you spending some time with us today. And also we appreciate your support of our producers here in the state of Iowa, as well as Iowa Pork Congress and being an Iowa Pork Alliance member. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.
Back with us again now is AP with a full line of feed storage and delivery systems, feeders, ventilations, and environmental controls. AP and its dealers are on your team, finding solutions that fit any swine production operation. Welcome back into our spotlight, Mark Oberreuter. Mark is a senior technician of technical support with information about AP's Commander fans.
The Commander fan is the latest line of fans offered by AP. Now, why should someone choose the Commander fan? First of all, they have a very high output in both low and high static pressure situations. The 54-inch fan with the PVC shutter has a rated capacity of 33,900 CFM at a 0.05 static pressure, and it still delivers 27,100 CFM at a 0.3 static pressure. The 36-inch fan with PVC shutter is rated for 16,650 CFM at a 0.05, and it still delivers 13,770 at a 0.3 static pressure. Another great advantage is that the fan can vary an output using a ventilation control. The 54-inch fan with the PVC shutter has a range of output from 18,800 all the way up to its maximum of 33,900. And the 36-inch fan can vary its output from around 7,000 up to 16,650. Another great advantage is its high efficiency. With all the Commander fans, their efficiency increases as they slow down. The 54-inch fan has an efficiency all the way up to 39 CFM per watt, and the 36-inch fan up to 37 CFM per watt. The last advantage is the very low maintenance it offers. Since it's a direct drive fan, there are no belts to tighten, there are no pulleys to maintain, or bearings to grease. The features for this fan, first of all, is the motor. The motor is a high-performance, permanent magnet electric motor that runs cool to the touch, and it supplies a constant torque to the prop. The drive, which is located near the fan on the wall, is a robust control with an IP66 rating. And the main power and the control signal from your main ventilation control come into this drive, and it operates the fan at that speed. It can be programmed several ways. You can use an OptiStick that you plug into the drive to download that program right to the drive. You can also use a smartphone with an app and make changes to the settings, and then download that program to the drive through that OptiStick. But you can also program the drive with its built-in user interface. The prop for the fans, with the 54-inch fan, it's a reinforced prop made of all non-corrosive materials. And the 36-inch fan has an aluminum hub with composite blades made of also all non-corrosive materials. There's many options with Commander fans. First of all, there's a 54 and 36-inch model. The power coming to the drive for the fan can either be a single or a three-phase power. The signal coming from your control can either be 0 to 10 or 10 to 0. We'll use that as an input to the drive for different situations. The shutter for the fan can either be made of PVC or it can be a roll seal type shutter. And the discharge cone can either be a fiberglass or poly material. If you'd like more information about our Commander fans, you can contact me, Mark Oberreuter, at 712-239-1011, or you can call an AP representative in your area. Thank you.
Mark, that was some great information. We really appreciate that. We've got some questions coming in, but if you have more questions, producers, we'd sure like to have you drop those in the QA box at the bottom of the Zoom window. Again, the QA box at the bottom of the Zoom window. We'll make sure that we get to all those questions. So Mark, our first question, first of all, welcome. We appreciate having you and AP with us twice in this segment. That is awesome. Our first question is about building specs. And the question says, are there building specs that need to be in place before installing?
Building specs be in place before installing. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. But as far as the building specs before installing, I like to ask more what the question was about. But as far as electrical or construction wise, the building materials, not exactly sure the question, but
I would imagine, and we'll see if he jumps back in here and clarifies that question a little bit more, but I wonder if he is talking about, fan weight and electrical.
okay. Well, electrical wise, I guess to summarize again, we have power going to the drive that is located out, and then it's just wires from that drive to the fan. And then also you have communication wires from your ventilation control to that drive. Yeah, that's electrical part of it, what it amounts to. So.
Okay, great. Let's shift gears just a little bit and talk about those discharge cones. The question that we had is, what are some of the applications where you would use PVC or the poly discharge cones? Help us understand those a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, there's two options we have for that discharge cone. The discharge cone is put on there to increase the efficiency of that fan. And the standard is the fiberglass option, which is a much stronger option. So definitely in places where you would have maybe snow coming off of a roof, potentially coming in contact with that cone, that we strongly recommend using that fiberglass. But other options where you wouldn't have that snow or impact, you could use the little less cost, the poly option, and still get the performance that you're looking for.
And I would assume that as you're working with these producers to understand what their needs are for their specific barns, whether it's a retrofit or a new barn, you're going to take those things into consideration and help them make the right choices.
Sure. Yeah. Another big part of what I do is helping customers decide on the design and what equipment is needed for a particular barn, whether it be ventilation and also feed systems. But come to ventilation, yeah, determining how much airflow that is needed for a barn, and then how these Commander fans might fit into that design, along with controls and inlets and all the other equipment. But you can sure contact us and we can help you with any design that you might need.
Mark, we've got another question from a producer that says, are there discharge dust collection equipment as part of the fan?
No, there's no dust collection equipment as part of the fan, but you do see some of that, but it's nothing that, yeah, is part of the fan. I mean, you can make sure whatever you want to do with collecting that dust, make sure it's away from the fan, a good, what they say is a couple diameters away to collect that dust so it doesn't impede on the performance of that fan.
And actually, we've got a question too about what are some of the examples where the Commander fan has been used successfully in swine barns?
Yeah, so some examples. Well, first of all, the Commander fan can be used in most any application where you need some fans to deliver air. A couple examples that I can talk about where they really shine is the first example is if you have like a filtered site, like particularly your sow units where you plan to filter the air as it's coming in. And doing that, it's very restrictive. So you need a fan that's going to be able to have produce and move that air under high static pressure. And this the Commander fan can really do that really good job at those higher pressures. So another example that comes to mind is if you have maybe a typical finisher barn where you have some small fans and then intermediate fans and then larger fans. Well, the Commander fan can kind of fit in there in place of an intermediate fan because you can slow it down. Like our 54-inch fan, you can slow him down to meet the needs like a typical mid-range fan, and then ramp it up and be used as a big fan. And it gives you more option there and a nice gradual increase in that airflow in that mid-range. So, with any of these options, it just increases that efficiency to use less electricity.
Mark, it sounds like you've got some good solutions and some good options for our producers out there. How can they get in touch with you?
Sure. The best way to learn more about the Commander fan or any of our products is through automatedproduction.com, or you can also call our tech center in Sioux City, Iowa, where I'm located and the tech manager. The phone number there is 712-239-1011. And I can give you that number again if you'd like. It's 712-239-1011.
Great. Mark, we really appreciate you being with us today. This has been Mark Oberreuter, and he's had some great information for us about the Commander fans. And always, we appreciate AP's support of our producers, Iowa Pork Congress, AP's support of the Iowa Pork Alliance, just everything that you do. You guys have been in all 4 of our segments over the last 2 days, and thanks a lot to AP.
All right, thank you.
Our next guest is Katie Holtz. Katie is with PigEasy. PigEasy is a family-owned and operated company that combines a farmer's common sense with an inventor's curiosity. PigEasy's farm-tested practical solutions improve pigs' well-being and boost producers' profit potential. Let's learn more from Katie.
Hi, my name is Katie Holtz with PigEasy. While I prefer meeting all of you in our booth at the Iowa Pork Congress, I'm grateful for this opportunity to talk to you today about the meal meter system. But first, I'd like to give you a brief background about PigEasy. PigEasy is a company out of Templeton, Iowa. And just outside of Templeton is a sow farm where all of our products are developed, tested, and are currently in use. You see, we're a pig farming family that had a few good ideas. So we created a company to market and sell the products we've developed. Actually, one of our most popular products, the AI saddle, preceded PigEasy. Dad developed the AI saddle when he realized he needed to speed up the breeding process in order to improve performance. So we came up with this hands-free breeding saddle. The AI saddle has been sold for decades via retailers. About 8 years ago, Dad was unsettled about our gilt performance. That unsettled feeling gained urgency when he heard an industry expert present data that showed how a gilt performed on their first litter was indicative of how they will perform throughout their lifetime. If production wasn't great on their first parity, then he was missing the boat for the rest of the litters too. This got him thinking. He noticed when they entered the breed barn, it would often take them almost 2 weeks to consume all their daily ration. Consultants told him the gilts just needed to get used to the stall, but Dad wasn't so sure about that. They seemed comfortable and at ease in their new home. Then it hit him. We've been feeding gilts like market hogs their whole lives where they can snack throughout the day. Then we bring them into a breed barn and drop their entire daily ration 1 to 2 times a day, and they're expected to clean it all up before the water kicks on. We weren't giving them the time and the right eating environment to optimize feed intake. So Dad got to work developing a feeder for the breed row. And that breed row feeder, the meal meter, worked so well that we developed it for lactation and later for gilt development and finishing. What we have now is an entire system that captures the intelligence and the instinct of the sow to make the feeder work for them. Dad has always liked wet-dry feeders, or I guess you could say the idea of wet-dry. We continually see studies that suggest wet-dry feeders perform better than strictly dry feeders. So why do producers continue to buy dry feeders? I think most would answer because they're messy and they take too much management. Wet-dry feeders are messy because all too often they're basically the same design as a dry feeder but with a nipple. They have a big bottom, so the sow has to dispense a lot of water in order to take a good drink from them. Feed builds up in the corners, and unless it's cleaned, it can get pretty gross. Not to mention, ad-lib dispensers need to be adjusted. That's a lot of time required to manage each feeder. So, Dad developed the meal meter for the sow to use her natural rooting behavior to dispense the feed. It is all positive flow, so it can't leak. The feeder itself is unlike any other in that it has a focused bottom, so feed can't build up in the corners. Dad likes to say sows are eating out of their water bowl, essentially. After much trial and error, we found the perfect nipple and the ideal nipple placement so the sow can get a good drink without over-dispensing water. Together, all of these factors create a feeder design that utilizes the intelligence and the instinct of the sow to work exactly as it should. 6 months after we installed the meal meter in the gilt row, we ran total born numbers for those 6 months and compared it to the 6 months before the meal meter was installed. Our P1 total born shot up 1.75 pigs per litter. Not only were we getting more pigs in the first litter, but the better start also brought better lifetime production. Running some simple numbers for a sow farm our size, with 25% of our herd being gilts, and taking out a percentage for stillborns and pre-wean mortality, that increase alone made our farm almost $84,000 more each year. Seeing the success in the breed row, Dad developed the meal meter for lactation. Not only did we observe an increase in feed consumption, but we also witnessed a huge decrease in wasted feed. Out of the 452 fairwing feeders on our farm, our staff boasts that they only have to clean out 1 to 4 bowls total a day. Ben Wickner, a customer of ours in Northeast Iowa, claims the lactation feeders are cutting feed waste by 5% on their farm, while the sows remain in good condition. And I think that's the most important part of that. Not only having to clean out feeders does it save quite a bit on labor, but most importantly, the staff are able to focus on what matters most, and that's tending to the animals. After observing success in the gilt row and in lactation, Dad eventually added the meal meter system to the wean row. The wean row is known to be an area with a lot of feed waste. Additionally, this time is vital for underconditioned sows to get back into condition before the 35-day preg check. If you have pen gestation or are contemplating the move to pen gestation, it's even more important to have the sows in uniform condition by the end of her first trimester. The meal meter system accomplishes that. We've seen a huge increase in pigs per sow lifetime on our farm after implementing the meal meter. Pre-meal meter, our pigs per sow lifetime was around 45, and it has been steadily in the mid-60s for years since installing the meal meter. Additionally, we've had customers report that using the meal meter in breeding has improved breed back numbers and reduced non-productive days. We've seen it on our farm and have heard it around the industry that the feeders in gilt development are often the least looked at area of the sow farm. That was obviously the next area where we tested out the meal meter. Not only did we notice an improvement on feed waste, but it took a lot less management because the meal meter does not need to be adjusted. We also felt it was beneficial for the gilts to be accustomed to the meal meter before entering the breed barn. My brother, seeing the success of the meal meter in the sow farm, wanted to try it out in his finishing barn. He noticed that when it came time to market, the biggest pigs in the barn were always in the pens with the meal meter girlfriend feeder. The pens were also calmer. The success of the meal meter system is in large part because the meal meter was developed with the sow's perspective in mind. My dad, our family, our staff, we're all passionate about pig production and believe that what is best for the sow is best for all of us. If you are interested in learning more about our feeder or trying one on your own farm, please give us a call. Jennifer Ruby, our sales manager, and my contact information are right here. You can also look us up on the web at PigEasy.com. Thank you for your time today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Katie Holtz, that was some great information. Welcome. We've got some questions coming in here. And producers, if you have more questions, go ahead and type those in the QA box and we will try to get all those answered. So Katie, welcome.
Thanks.
First couple questions that we have are related to each other. So I'm gonna bundle those for you. Do the sows wear RFID tags, and how does this work with an open housing system?
Good question. So first, this is a low-tech solution for ad lib feeding. In terms of, an RFID tag is not required for utilizing the meal meter. In terms of open house housing for sows in gestation, we really believe that the meal meter complements any other system that you have in gestation because it's used in the breed row before you move them into open pens. That is really, for open housing, it's really important that sows after their first trimester are in uniform condition before they enter the pen. And you can achieve that with the meal meter because they're able to eat ad lib throughout the day and either gain back condition that they may have lost in lactation or maintain condition until they're ready to go into the pen.
That makes a lot of sense, Katie. Our next question is about software. Is there any software data collection that goes along with this system?
Not at this time. We don't have anything on the market at this point. It's like I said, it's a low tech option, but you are able to monitor, what they're consuming we have a window in the feed tube that you can see to make sure they're continuing to eat, and you can set feed levels at the box level in breeding.
Okay. What about training? How long does it take for the sows to figure out how to use the meal meter?
That's a good question because the meal meter is a very natural movement for them. It uses their natural rooting behavior. There's virtually no training. What we like to say is when the sow enters the stall, you turn that meal meter until all the elevators are filled with feed. So that way she can smell the feed. And as she bumps the meal meter, she's immediately rewarded.
So can we use the meal meter with existing feeders then?
Yes, you can. So what we like to say is you may not get all the benefits of the meal meter system just because you're still using that big bowl. But we do like to, we've developed the meal meter to install in a lot of existing feeders. Oftentimes you don't need a bracket. It just depends on the feeder design. We like to work with our customers to find the right fit for them. But we do ask that you look into the water pipe because really the water pipe and the placement of the water pipe is key for making sure that that bowl stays clean and ready for her next meal.
Katie, lots of information, and I know that our producers have more questions for you. Tell us again how they can reach out to you and how they can connect with you.
Well, we're on the web like everybody else, PigEasy.com. We're also all over social media. You can reach out to me directly at Katie@PigEasy.com, and our phone number's on the website.
Great. Katie, we appreciate spending some time with you today and learning more about the PigEasy products. And we really appreciate your support of our producers here in Iowa and of the Iowa Pork Congress, as well as being a Pork Alliance member. So thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
How was that for a lot of great information in a short amount of time this afternoon? So this was the fourth and final swine product showcase, but just in case you missed one or would like to view any of them again, just log on to the Iowa Pork website at iowapork.org or the Swinecast website at swinecast.com. Now, we want to remind you that the Iowa Pork Producers Foundation Scholarship Auction, Dollars for Swine Scholars, is still happening online, goes through 8 o'clock tonight, and I understand there's some pretty exciting bidding going on out there. The auction funds scholarships to support future professionals in the pork industry, Last year, the auction funded 23 scholarships. So help us support our youth through these scholarships by supporting the auction. There are great items and opportunities for cash donations as well. And for more information, you can just go to the Iowa Pork website at iowapork.org. Look for that Dollars for Swine Scholars link. Buy as many items as you like on the auction. There's no limit, and your dollars are making a difference. And to connect with all the activities that were held here during the 49th Annual Iowa Pork Congress, just log on to the Iowa Pork website at iowapork.org. Again, that's iowapork.org, or be sure to follow along on social media. Go back and check out that hashtag Iowa Pork Congress 2021. Again, that hashtag is Iowa Pork Congress 2021. As we begin to wrap things up, I'd like to leave you with some thoughts about pork production and the state of Iowa. The Iowa Pork Producers Association works year-round on behalf of our producers, promoting, educating, and providing a leading voice of sustainability, social responsibility, and globally competitive pork industry. But what is most important is what you do each and every day on your farm. Here's some facts about what you do on your farm. These are pretty impressive, so take a listen here. Iowa has 24.8 million hogs, making it the leading state in the nation in pork production. I bet you knew that. But did you know that Iowa has 5,418 hog farms, 147,105 jobs created by the Iowa pork industry? There's $11.9 billion in value-added activity, $40.8 billion in pork production and processing sales, and $6.8 billion in household income in Iowa. That's kind of like the total payroll, if you will, related to the Iowa pork industry and Iowa pork production. Nearly a quarter of Iowa's corn and soybean acres are used to feed Iowa's pigs too. The point I'm trying to make, what you do each and every day on your farm makes a difference. We appreciate you, and mostly we applaud you for doing that. Thanks for being with us today, and thanks for being part of the Iowa pork industry. For the Iowa Pork Congress, I'm Cindy Cunningham. Enjoy your day.